We are so back, bitches. So after a dark and depressing winter, the time has finally come for us to begin the year with something a bit more uplifting, as the warmth of spring is starting to seep into our collective hidey holes. And to celebrate the end of our hibernation, let's once again count off all the potential Yuri anime premiering this season, because there are some very intriguing titles to keep an eye on. Now, it's important to note that all the new anime appearing on this list are unconfirmed to have any Yuri, but one glance is all it takes to see that they all fall under the cute girls doing cute things super genre. And you know how reliable those are to the Yuri cause. Alright, enough yapping. Let's get the show on the road. So our first anime is a direct continuation. It's the annoyingly titled, I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level season 2. And just a reminder, it's about a woman who overworks herself at her job to the point of death, reincarnates in a fantasy world, trains herself to a level 99 protagonist, and acquires a harem consisting of many cute and sexy ladies. You know, the most original plot for an anime of all time. But this time is different, you see, because this time we follow our slime-killing witch and her merry band of wives and children doing even more of the same wacky and goofy things. Oh wait, well okay. I guess the only thing that seems to be different is that we're getting a new character. A lolly with some leaves growing out of her head. As long as she's not a serious love candidate, that's a-okay with me. And another difference is that the show is being handled by a different studio this time. But there doesn't seem to be any changes in the animation from what I can tell. I mean, maybe it's slightly clunkier. So I will say that this show is up there for me as an isekai anime. But at the same time, I haven't watched a whole lot of good isekais. And at best, Killing Slimes is just pretty alright. It's fine as a sort of slice-of-life fantasy series, and the comedy is charming yet inoffensive. But I think where it really stands out is in its pseudo-Yuri harem status. There's definitely Yuri elements in here. No doubt about it. It's both subtle and on the nose at times. But despite Azusa's ability to pull each and every girl she comes across, my main focus is on the development between her and her dragon wife, Laika. Most people will agree that these two have the strongest relationship. And all my eggs are in the basket that will see more sweet and tender moments between them. No spoilers from those who already read the light novel, of course. I'm just assuming that we'll get an arc or something focusing solely on these two. So yeah, more cute girls doing cute things as a family unit is always welcome. Show us just how lovely and dysfunctional you are, girls. It will please Gareth. Alright, next we have my most anticipated show of the season. It's NinKoro, a ninja and an assassin living together. And just from that title alone, you can guess why I'm especially giddy. This odd couple situation first starts when a female ninja named Sadako left her ninja village and eventually comes across Konoha, a high school girl by day and ruthless assassin by night. Intrigued by her ninja techniques, Konoha makes a proposition to Sadako, help her out with her assassin jobs in exchange for a place to live, that being Konoha's house. And as their days of cohabitation continue, they encounter many outlandish hijinks, stepping from their dangerous professions to everyday lives as regular teenage girls. One thing's for sure, these two will have to put up with much more than just an annoying roommate. So let's see what we got here. An innocent small girl paired up with a mature big girl? Check. Cute and sexy girls fighting in action-packed ninja fight scenes? Check. A slice-of-life anime featuring characters sleeping under the same roof together, potentially in the same bed? Check. Wacky rom-com scenarios between two total opposites? Check. Glorious animation by the legendary Shaft? Check. Kabadon scenes and multiple sexy onesans? Fucking check-a-rooney. To say that this is a fulfillment of all my desires is putting it lightly. Just watching the trailer's enough to put a big stupid grin on my face, cause I just know it's gonna be jam-packed with ridiculous goofy humor, and a good chunk of them potentially being Yuri related. I've been at this long enough to know how these things work, and all my instincts are telling me that this will make me laugh and swoon orgasmically. And it really does help that the animation is so fun to watch. It shows passion and confidence in a project, and this is in spite of the fact that this is mainly a slice-of-life anime. They want both the action and gags to hit harder. So yeah, eagerly anticipating NinKoro. As long as it makes me laugh and is filled with plenty of shipping moments, I consider it an overall win. And if it has more than 10 shaft tilts, I will officially deem it anime of the decade. No questions asked. Next, we have the obligatory girls club anime. It's called Rock is a Lady's Modesty. Taking place in an all-girls academy, we find the star of the show, Suzunomiya Lilasa, a truly refined young lady who upholds all the truly refined tastes of the crustiest of upper crusts. That's at least what she wants you to think. Before her mother remarried into a wealthy family, Lilasa was actually just a filthy commoner, engaging in only filthy commoner things. One of them being playing something called a guitar. But now that she's a part of the enviable elite, she must act accordingly, and abandon any part of herself that doesn't fit the elite young lady image, which includes her love of rock and or roll. After another day of masquerading, she comes across the dignified and picture-perfect Kurogane Otaha. But just like Lilisa, we would soon find out that this girl has a secret of her own. It turns out Otaha was a drumming prodigy, and when she discovers that Lilisa was a rocker too, she invited her to a jamming session, and with their secret hobbies exposed, they begin their relationship by rocking all out with each other after school. Because after all, rock is just a lady's something something. So when I first heard of this series a couple of years ago, my first thought was how freaking similar it sounded to Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games, a Yuri manga with pretty much the exact same premise, obviously with video games switched with rock music. Which, by the way, looks like we're finally getting a premiere date on the anime that was announced a century ago. Anyway, the initial fun of the series is in its formal setting mixed with hard rock music. And let me just say, we got a clash of titans here. Everyone knows upper-class all-girls schools are a fertile breeding ground for Yuri, so we got the Class S element going on. Next, we have the totally kick-ass heavy metal rock music penetrating our souls and asses. And this is all wrapped up in some very tantalizing animation. It kinda reminds me of Kill la Kill, at least the parts with the dynamic camera angles and the thick contours. The base animation already looks pretty fabulous, but the rock and roll scenes especially look like they're gonna slap hard. But obviously, the piece de resistance lies with our two protagonists. The tension between them is practically oozing out of the screen. I can already predict that we're gonna have some wild interactions between what looks to be a prideful tsundere and a very mischievous and possibly sadistic provocateur. Maybe something akin to Aoi and E from Birdie Wing, but instead of girls getting off from playing intense golf together, we got girls getting off from jamming intense music together. Also this. I really need to know the context of this. Now this next anime raises all the usual cute girls doing cute things Yuri flags, to the point where I actually thought it was some kind of joke that was given more serious production later down the road. It's Maebashi Witches, and simply put, it's about 5 high school girls who were recruited by a frog mascot character to become magical idol girls. And I guess they do magical girl stuff while also singing and dancing. Basically, this is Precure meets Love Live meets Lapis Relights meets God knows how many other girls club anime. Now that's not to say that this is gonna be bad or anything, I just thought it was nothing we haven't already seen before. Apparently the girls work at some kind of magical flower shop and do stuff that makes people's wishes come true. Not exactly sure how singing and dancing accomplishes that, but then again we've seen anime girls pulling off much more crazy feats in the past. So let's talk about the girls themselves. Right off the bat, we got some chemistry between these obvious archetypes. We got the peppy, go-getting protagonist Yuna, the grumpy tsundere Azu, and likely main love interest to the protagonist, the stylish and level-headed Mai, the cool and mature Kyoka, and the ditzy Genkai Choko. Now the fact that this is being made by Sunrise and produced by Bandai Namco can only mean a few things. You'll have cute and colorful animation, plenty of catchy musical numbers, and lots of Yuri teasing. All you need to know is that these are the same studios that brought us a Love Live anime. So if you're expecting any characters to cross first base, you'll be sorely disappointed. I'm looking at you, Superstar Season 3. Next is one of the 2 movies that'll air this season, but will take painfully longer to view for anyone else outside of Japan. It's the fabled Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid movie. A lonely dragon wants to be loved. Now, without giving away too much, what we have here is basically the animated version of the Kana arc from the manga, which is about everyone's favorite lolly dragon having to go back to the dragon world after her father makes a sudden appearance in the human world. It's been a while since I read this part of the manga, but overall it's a fairly dramatic and touching story, filled with conspiracy and political intrigue. Obviously, all the dragons will make an appearance. However, one key player will be mostly sidelined. Here's a hint. It's definitely not a bad choice to make this into a movie, but my main takeaway is that this puts the kibosh on any hope of a Dragon Maid Season 3. I mean, I can't really complain, given the fact that this is one of a thimbleful of Yuri anime to receive subsequent seasons. But who knows how far they could have taken it. However, this does open up the possibility of an Elma arc movie, quite possibly the greatest arc in the manga. And for those who know exactly why. I don't care. I can easily ship Toru with Kobayashi and Elma at the same time. Anyway, looking forward to the day I can finally watch this. Hopefully I won't have crippling arthritis and dementia by then. Alright, so I'm just gonna speedrun through these last few anime, mainly because I don't have too much to say about them, and the Yuri potential for them is much more difficult to predict. So the first one is called Mono, a girls club anime where a school's photography and cinema clubs are both in danger of being shut down. To counteract this nuclear level disaster, they ended up merging both into a single club, the Cine Photo Club, and the members get to resume their creative exploits taking photos and making movies. And apparently they also tour around Japan, doing everything you expect cute anime girls to do. So without missing a beat, this is cute girls doing cute things on maximum overdrive. And before anyone asks, no, I still have not watched Eurocamp, but I can immediately tell that both have the exact same tone and style. Tell you what, if Mono ends up blowing me away, I'll binge watch all of Eurocamp in a single week. I'm sure they'll do wonders on my mental state. Alright, next is something called Zatsu Tabi, which is about a rookie manga artist named Suzuka Murachika, struggling to find even a hint of success with her manga career. To escape her painful spate of failures, she decided that the best way to get inspiration is to do some traveling. So she geared up and did some soul searching all across Japan, alongside her trusted companions and some very sexy older ladies. So a pretty straightforward premise. Obviously the main draw is the slice of life aspect, taking you to a variety of different iconic Japanese locations and experiencing whatever local activities they have there. As long as it doesn't feel like a sleazy tourist ad, I'll be happy giving it a try. And if the girls find more than just inspiration on their journey, then I'll be even happier if you catch my drift. Next up is the other movie premiering this spring. It's the I almost forgot this was still a thing, Princess Principal Crown Handler Chapter 4 movie. I would explain what the plot is, but to be honest, I only watched the first 2 movies, and I can barely remember a single thing about them, which isn't a good sign. I might have mentioned this before, but I think the main problem is that unlike the show, the movies don't really focus on any particular members of the cast. They feel like generic spy thrillers that could have been condensed into a single episode. The thing that makes the show so charming is the time spent learning more about each character, with the plot being more of a backdrop. But the biggest crime of all is Anji and Princess's relationship not getting any progression. How do you build up a series with these star-crossed lovers and not make them the sole focus of everything that's happening? That's like serving me chicken soup and leaving out the chicken. What are you, some kind of no chicken soup drinker? Anyway, it's a darn shame my investment into this series pretty much dropped off a cliff, and I'm not holding on hope that the last 2 movies will catapult it back to stardom. I think the producers are satisfied just going through the motions. Okay, so the last anime is the biggest shot in the dark. It's the newest Gundam series, Mobile Suit Gundam. What the fuck? Was someone high when they came up with that name? How the fuck do you pronounce that? Anyway, I'm just gonna call it Gundam GQ. So Gundam GQ is about a girl named Yuzuriya Amate, a normal high school girl living aimlessly on a deadbeat space colony. One day, her stale life came to a crashing halt when she comes across a refugee named Yan, and something happens that leads them getting involved in Gundam battles, which everyone knows by now is bad news. Never get in the Gundam. Oh yeah, the Gundam that Amate ends up piloting is the titular GQ, and every day she has to fight in clan battles for whatever reason, most likely because of some kind of huge political conspiracy. You know, the usual Gundam stuff. Now, to be honest, the only reason I'm giving this show the time of day is because it's coming off the heels of one of my favorite Yuri anime of the last decade, that being The Witch from Mercury. And I'd be a real prune to not see what Bandai Namco is cooking up next. Can they finally move on from their wishy-washy ways, or are they content with serving you a nice meal after watching wiping their dirty napkin on your plate. I also know that this anime already has a theatrical release, which basically condenses the first 3 episodes or something into a movie format. But just because of my low commitment, I'll wait for the first episode to come out and decide if it's worth my time. Obviously, the deciding factors are the main characters. I don't think they'll be as big as Soletta and Miyarine, but I'd be happy knowing that they'll have an equally special bond like the former. The only thing that'll really ruffle my feathers is if a certain nuisance decides to get in the way of this. Yeah. Now, I know there aren't any explicit Yuri shows airing this season, but trust me when I say I got a really good feeling about some of these. NinKoro and Rock is a lady's modesty especially have my sensors beaming. And you bet your ass I'll be there to cover each and every single highlight of them. And on top of that, we were just inundated with a bevy of new Yuri announcements. I already mentioned that these 3 Yuri anime will be premiering this year. But to add to that, we got even more heavy hitters announced, such as the guy she was interested wasn't a guy at all, I Wanna Love You Till Your Dying Day, and as I previously mentioned, young ladies don't play fighting games. Indeed, this truly is a magnificent time to be a Yuri fan. So let me know which anime got your ass puckering with excitement. But don't burn yourself out too quickly, because the Yuri Renaissance will be upon us very soon. Alright, see you around.